Hey, I'm Scotty T from Your Comedy Minute. I have a very funny young man with me, Neil Galani. Neil, how are you?
Hey, what's up, Scotty? How you doing?
I feel good, Neil. It's great to have you here.
Great to be on your show.
Well, thank you. You're in Canada,
Been
right?
to Toronto, Canada. That's right.
Toronto, Canada. I've been to Toronto, Canada.
Cool. Did you like it?
I loved it.
How
I
long
thought it
ago
was
was
I thought it was amazingly clean when I was
that?
there.
Yeah. So you're out of Philadelphia?
I'm in York, Pennsylvania, which is a couple hours outside of Philly. I'm like
Okay.
between Philadelphia and Pittsburgh.
Okay, I hear
Have you
ya.
ever been to Have you ever been to Pennsylvania?
I've been to Pittsburgh and I've been to Philadelphia. Yeah.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, Neil, let's start with were you born and raised in Canada?
I was, yeah.
No lie.
What?
No lie. You were born and raised in Canada.
Yeah, I spent a little bit of time living in Australia, which was kind of cool.
Yeah. How did you
Yeah.
end up in Australia?
I was there for school.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so let's move on to when did you start doing comedy?
So I started 9 years ago, but I've been busy with my nut business. But after COVID, things got very slow for my nut business, so I have more time to spend on comedy.
Okay, yeah, you have again, I have your Facebook. I don't know if you have, and we'll get into that. You have amateur comedian, struggling peanut salesman.
Yeah,
I like that.
yeah, yeah.
How long? Okay, so you started doing comedy 9 years ago. How long have you been selling peanuts? Or I guess
19
it's not just
here.
peanuts; it's all kinds of nuts.
All kinds of dried fruits and nuts. Yeah, we do a bit of business with Hershey out there in Pennsylvania.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, that's a big deal. Hershey bars are known worldwide.
yeah, yeah. What else do we do? Well, the Weaver Nut Company is out there in
Yeah.
Pennsylvania. You heard
Okay.
of them?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I think those are the only two. Most of our suppliers are more towards New Jersey area.
Okay. So let's
Yeah.
get back to comedy if we can. Neil, 9 years ago, what triggered you to start doing comedy?
I was doing improv and I wasn't working out for me. I didn't fit in well on the team. So I gave
Okay.
stand up a shot and I very much excelled with stand up.
Okay. Do you want to do a little bit? Do a few minutes of some of your stuff. That'd be fine with
All
me.
right. So what's up, Pennsylvania? My
Hi,
name's
Neil.
Neil. I'm an aspiring comedian and a struggling nut salesman. It's true. I have this business importing and wholesaling dried fruits and nuts, and people often make fun of my profession. They go so far as calling my Speedo the nut smuggler. But I don't like it when people make fun of my occupation. It's how I make a living and I pay my porn bill. The nut business is not easy. The other day, I caught an employee stealing from me, and I guess it's my own fault for hiring someone who puts their email address on their resume as marijuanamonkey69@gmail.com. For hobbies on his resume, he put down listening to rap music, spelled with an E on the end. So, as you can see, the future of Canada is strong. So, what do you think so far?
I love it. I love it. Keep going. You're killing.
All right. I was at a trade show the other day. I love going to trade shows. I love getting out of the office. So I was at this trade show showing off my nuts, and the lady next to me is exhibiting cookies. So I'm scarfing them down all weekend, and at the end of the show, I'm like, "These are great, but how are they healthy?" And her response was, "They encourage lactation," which was really sad because I love that shirt. So, it was stand-up comedy. I'm hoping to become more famous than Danny DeVito, at least in Bangladesh. Or maybe even the Planter's Peanut. I hate that fucker. You know, customers come into my office, they study my nuts like they're buying diamonds. And at the end of the day, I know I've done a good job when these male ethnic customers say to me, "Neil, I've had many men's nuts in my mouth, and yours are by far the most
Oh,
delicious."
God. Hey, Neil, Scott's nuts. Grab him.
And I'm okay.
I'm sorry, Neil. I'm sorry.
I prefer an
That was
almonds,
that was
walnut.
my
Yeah.
one nut joke I got.
Oh yeah.
Gosh, Neil, you're funny as heck.
I thank you.
You play a lot on the whole nut thing.
Yeah, I play a lot on the nut business. I play a lot on my family. My mom always calls me a son of a bitch. My father's upset with me. Well, he always used to say to me, son, I could buy a new BMW, but I want to see you succeed. So I'm sending you to private school instead. And now he's like, yeah, I should have got that BMW. My
So
sister,
they're not a big fan of your nut business.
no, not right now because it's very slow. But
Well, you mentioned, let me just interrupt for a second because you mentioned Danny DeVito, and on your Facebook page, you posted a picture, I guess, with some other comedians, and someone commented the brown Danny DeVito.
I get that quite a bit.
I was
Yeah,
gonna say I think it's a combination of your look and your voice.
I think so too. My height too. Yeah, I'm only 5'2".
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
people on
So
Zoom aren't gonna be able to see that.
yeah, yeah.
So do you play all that into the bit? Do you do any, like into your comedy as far as, teasing
Oh
about?
yeah, yeah.
Oh
Sometimes
yeah.
I wish I could go a foot, but then I realize how silly I'd look with 3 feet. Yeah, I talk about how hard it is to get dates, when you're 5'2". Like a girl will give me her phone number and it'll only have 6 digits. And is 911 really the new area code for Buffalo?
So 9 years of doing comedy, and I can tell you really are polished as far
Oh,
as
thank you.
your act. Have you played? Obviously, you said as far as you've traveled to, Philadelphia and Pennsylvania or Philadelphia and Pittsburgh. Have you done comedy outside of Canada?
Yeah, a little bit in Las Vegas,
Wow.
Hollywood. Yeah, I'm going to Hollywood in a few weeks
Okay.
for Comedy Chateau is having an international comedy festival. So
Okay.
I'm going for that. That should be fun.
Oh yeah.
And then where else have I done? I went to Portugal. I performed out there. I've been
Wow.
to New York. I've been to Boston. I've been to um, Hollywood. Was pretty cool. Checking out Hollywood. Yeah.
Do you have a favorite place? In other words, for me, I was born and raised here, so York, Pennsylvania, that's my home. Would you consider your favorite place to be in Toronto, Canada, when you're back in Toronto?
Yeah, we're around Toronto, like around this area, like some of the smaller cities around Toronto.
Okay.
They have clubs that draw people out to see me on Saturday nights because of the limited entertainment options in smaller cities.
Okay. And let
Yeah,
me ask you this. I think you kind of mentioned it. You would like to do comedy full time. The heck with the nut business.
I would, but it's practically impossible to make a living doing comedy full time.
Well, I believe, I just did one. It's going to air tonight with Anthony Reyes. And I told him, because I worked in the music business. We never met. For everyone just watching, Neil and I've never met. And I worked in the music business, Neil, and I always break it down to drive and desire. If you have
Yeah,
enough drive and enough desire, you can't lose either one. If you lose either one, then you won't make it. But I believe drive and desire. Now, that's easy to say for me, and you doing it 9 years, maybe some of that drive and desire is gone a little bit.
yeah, no, I'm okay. I still have the drive and desire.
Okay.
But how far are you from Boston?
Boston, Massachusetts.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a ways.
Oh,
That's
it's delayed.
yeah, yeah. I
I'm gonna
I
be in Boston in a week.
I've been in like 30 to 50 states. I've been to Canada, I've been to the Bahamas, I've been, I've traveled. I'm
Have you been to
61.
Alaska?
I'm gonna be 62, and I'm not really into traveling. I'm happy right where I'm at, and I have no goals to to go to Boston or to go to I've been in Vegas, I've been all over. So
Have
I'm
you
just
been to
happy, content.
Alaska?
Pardon me?
Have you ever been to Alaska?
No, I
I'd love to go to Alaska. That'd be cool. see the glaciers and stuff. It'd be
I think it would be cool, but I don't know how long I would last.
Yeah, that's the thing. You get bored after like an
Have you
hour of that. You're like, okay, I'm ready to go home.
have you been to Alaska?
I've only been to the airport, but my parents have been on the cruise to Alaska from
Yeah,
BC, and also my sister has. I've heard good things about it. I
right.
was on my way to Australia. I stopped at the airport in Anchorage. The plane had to refuel.
What was
So
Australia like? That first and foremost, I heard is like a 17-hour flight or something to get to
yeah,
Australia.
30 hours even. Yeah,
30,
yeah. It's like one big beach.
is it?
Yeah, the country's pretty much one big beach.
How long were you in Australia?
A year and a half.
And was that just personal or was it involving the nut business or?
No, it was involving school. I was there for
Oh,
school.
okay. I'm sorry. Yeah, you did mention that. Well, I tell you what, Neil, I'm real taken back by your comedy. I think you're great.
Cool. You should check me out on YouTube at Nutman Neil, and
Okay,
I'll
and I
post
was
your
gonna
video on YouTube on my YouTube.
I was gonna ask you that. In other words, I know you from Facebook. We just met. You have a YouTube channel. Do you have Instagram or TikTok? Do you have either of those?
I have Instagram. It's at Nutman Neil.
Okay, I will put in this when I air it. It'll be about 2 weeks from now, Neil. I will put all the links to your YouTube and to your Instagram and to your Facebook and any other links you want me to include. Hell, I'll tell you what, Neil, I'll even put a link to the nut business.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, yeah.
Because here's what I'd like to see. I'd like to see the nut business take off and your comedy take off.
That'd be cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
right now it's just at one time my nut business was booming. I had no time to do comedy, but last five years or so, COVID came and it was really bad for us. You know,
Let me
the
let me
economy, the
ask
way
you.
I see it, the economy was already in a bit of a decline before COVID started, and then COVID just made things much worse. You know, it's
Yeah, a lot of people are talking about the demise of comedy. Jerry Seinfeld and a lot of people are talking about it. And I
yeah.
think I
The
think what
world
I
has really changed after COVID, especially people probably don't go out to comedy clubs as often as they used to. Like, I don't know that for a fact, but I would assume after COVID, people are not going to comedy clubs as often.
well, Neil, I think there's another part too, because I've done now I come up maybe 150 of these. And what I'm feeling and what I'm hearing is you have your stand-up comedians over here, and then you have your TikTok, Instagram, let's call them content creators that make these videos. And I think when we look at comedy these days, there's as many as these people as, this stand-up comedy bit, which is what you and I, are accustomed to, that is dying off. And it's hard because I think kids today they scan on
Yeah.
their phones and it has to quick, I mean, TikTok's what, 15 seconds or whatever. You have to, and I don't know, there's a lot of stand-up comedians that aren't embracing this side.
Yeah. So, what else would you like to discuss?
Um, Neil, I can talk about anything. I can talk about maybe the price of eggs in Egypt.
Well, why don't we
I have a rash. I have a pussy boil on my back. You want to talk about that?
no, I'm okay. I have a rash on my knee. I went to see the doctor. He says, do you find yourself kneeling a lot? I was like, that's why they call me Neil.
Yeah, I want to mention we will get on to your comedy minute here in a minute, but you spell it Neel. Is that really?
Yeah, because it's the Indian way of spelling it, because it's short for Sunil, Suneel. So,
Okay.
yeah,
So you have Indian heritage.
yeah, we're
Even
Indian.
though you were
Indian
born and
descent.
raised in Canada, you have Indian heritage.
Yes, that's right.
Okay. Well, Neil, I'll tell you what, you're welcome to do another couple of minutes from your act if you'd like before we get on to your comedy minute.
Okay, so, well, what I was telling you was why my mom and dad are upset with me. My sister's also upset with me. She said I shouldn't have wrote her son a note to get out of school. maybe she's right, and maybe I shouldn't have told my nephew's school that he has AIDS.
God, Neil.
Yeah.
Don't tell me you really did that. You are crazy.
Yeah. So, growing up, I never fit in with the smart kids. I used to have more fun hanging out with the jocks, telling my jokes.
Yeah.
And to this day, I get mistaken for either their hostage or the butler. So, as I was saying, I have a hard time meeting women. People are always telling me they can introduce me to nice women from India. The problem with nice women from India is you don't know whether they're looking for true love or permanent residency. I go to meet a nice girl from India. I'm not sure if I'm at a restaurant or at Laser Quest because the
Oh no.
yeah. So I
Did
meet this nice girl, and it's definitely a restaurant because there's no forks or knives. So in India, they don't have toilet paper or forks and knives.
yeah.
You never want to mix up your hands in India.
So did you
Uh,
take that girl laser tag? The girl with the dot? Did you take her playing laser tag?
yeah, that would be funny. It would be so confusing.
I thought that's what you said. That's what went through my
Oh,
mind.
I'm not sure if I'm at a restaurant or at Laser Plus because of
Oh God, Neil, you are too funny.
yeah.
I'll
Thank
tell you
you.
what, I pray, like in the music business, sometimes it just takes a break, and I hope you get that break because you're a really funny guy.
Thank you very much. Well,
Do
maybe
you-
today was my big break. Maybe
well,
I'll
who
get
knows? Who knows,
sure.
Neil? Let me ask you this: do you have and we'll get on to your comedy minute. I won't keep you any longer. But do you have like 5 minutes, 10 minutes? Do you have a whole, how long do you have, put together?
Probably about 10 good
10
minutes.
good minutes. And does that
Yeah.
change? Does that change? In other words, like you cover the nuts, your parents, your sister, uh, you know,
No, yeah, I have about a 10 minute set. The problem is when you go to the comedy
yeah,
clubs or whatever,
you
they
don't
only
get
give
10
you
minutes.
5 minutes,
Yeah, you only
seven
get five
minutes,
minutes.
10 minutes if you're lucky. So I'm gonna be doing my own show at some point. I'm looking at starting my own show so I can get more stage time that way.
Right. Yeah. A lot of guys are doing that. Well, I shouldn't say guys and girls are doing that,
Yeah.
promoting their own shows. And I think also what they're doing is they're promoting and, getting other comedians in and then paying the comedians so much and they make a little bit of money on the side too.
Yeah, yeah. If in a perfect world, it's not so easy these days.
No.
Nothing is easy in business these
You know
days.
what, Neil, my grandfather used to say, if it was easy, everybody'd have it. It's not.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah. It's
I've been
actually
doing
really tough these days.
I've been doing this 4.5 years,
Oh
and I
yeah?
got to tell you, Neil, there's been a lot of ups and downs. Lots of times I wanted to quit, but
Oh,
I just and I've done is I've pivoted a lot from when I first started it to now, where I'm, now for the first time. I shouldn't say for the first time, but I feel real comfortable in doing this, what I'm doing. And I've had a lot of people say they like the end where I'm asking people their comedy minute because they feel like that's a good, idea. And I think it's kind of cool too to have people tell me, a crazy story or whatever it is that makes them laugh.
yeah.
So I guess without any further ado, why don't we get to it?
So the
Hang on, let me
funniest
do a formal introduction. Your comedy minute with Neil Galani. Neil, it's all you, buddy.
so I went to the doctor the other day. It was quite interesting. Under emergency contact, I put down 911. For previous conditions, I was like gonorrhea, chlamydia, herpes. It's not true, but I wanted the doctor to think I'm cool. Like, doc, I'm a stud, but without you, all that's left is an STD. You wouldn't even give me a high five. And so we left off with, Doctor, can you make my penis the size of Tommy Lee's? He's like, I'm sorry, Neil. I can't make your penis any smaller.
Oh my God. Neil, yeah, I would have never expected all of that from you.
Okay.
No, I love it. I love it. Tommy Lee and Pamela Anderson. I remember I watched that video.
Oh, did you?
Oh, sure I did.
Okay. That was a bit before my time. It was when the internet first came out. like when I was in high school.
Oh, I
So,
think I have it on DVD somewhere. I'm
oh yeah,
kidding you, Neil. I'm kidding you. Uh, man, you are great. That is great stuff.
okay, man.
Well,
Well,
listen, hang in for a second. I'm going to stop the recording. We can talk a little bit off the record. Thank you
okay.
for being here, Neil. I had a lot of fun.
Thank you. It was very nice to be on your show.
Okay, hang in there for a second.